Hey, Joe.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Town of East Troy Planning Commission for the month of June. I'd like the record to show that all the commissioners are present. How we operate is we operate on a split meeting format. This is our informational meeting where we will ask the applicant to come up, tell us what they're looking for, any explanations. After they're done, the committee will, Plan Commission will ask any questions that we have of the applicant. Once the applicant's done, we will have a small discussion amongst ourselves. At that point, I will open it up to anybody in the audience, first who would like to speak in favor of the proposal, then who would like to speak against the proposal, and if necessary, a small rebuttal from the applicant. We ask that if you do speak in favor or against, that you state your name and address for the record, please. So then after we gather all our information tonight, we take 2 weeks off. We come back in 2 weeks on Wednesday, 2 weeks from tonight, and we make our decision. That being said, that is not by ordinance. So if we feel we can make our decision tonight, we will make it tonight. So the first item on the agenda is to review and approve the Plan Commission minutes from April 3rd. Anybody have any issues with the minutes from the 3rd? No. We'll take a motion then.
I move that we approve the minutes of April 3rd.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a conditional use. W2165 Highway J, McGuanago, parcel PET 600008D. Ian Wolf is the owner and applicant. If you could come up and just tell us what you're looking for.
I'm Ian Wolf, that's my wife Kathy Wolf. We bought that parcel on Highway J last fall. Right here?
Please.
Sure.
There you go.
We bought that last fall. It's 5 acres. It's zoned A2. It was previously pretty much just used as vacant. The previous owner stored his boat trailer there. That's about it. Looking way back, it looks like it was a farm use of some sort, maybe a horse pasture, something like that, way back. Hasn't really had any changes since then. We're looking to clear an area about 1.7 acres of just undergrowth, brush, kind of junky trees. The average is about like this and smaller. We'd like to use an excavator to just pluck them out of the ground. Anything that is of millable lumber we'll harvest. Anything that's decent firewood we'll save, but a lot of it is just buckthorn and junky trees. We'll be doing that hopefully this summer at some point. Kind of depends on availability of the equipment and when we can kind of get everything lined up for manpower. Our future goal is to have a small Christmas tree farm out there. We're looking for about 400 trees a year cycle. So they take about 10 years to grow on average, some 8, some 10. And we'll just cycle 400 trees every year. So a decade from now, maybe we can sell 400 Christmas trees. Well, eventually we'd like to put our house and shop kind of in the back, but need about $500,000 first. So it'll be a while, but we can start the trees now because that takes time.
Sure. Now, you don't necessarily need conditional use to grow Christmas trees or trees on your land, but obviously you're looking forward to.
That's where I was also kind of confused. So under my thoughts, it's zoned appropriately for A2 hobby farming. Principal use of that land is a nursery or a tree farm. It's like number 2 on the list.
Mhm.
I initially thought we could go ahead and just clear the trees, plant our trees, no big deal. Talking to the county, they don't like that plan. They want a conditional use to restore the land, restoration permit to knock kind of the undergrowth and brush down. It seems like the major issue there was we would be using an excavator to clear the lot. And because we would be uprooting the trees, we would be disturbing the soil. Therefore, we would need a soil and erosion control permit as well. So I now have a county conditional use permit. I now have a soil and erosion control permit. And now I have an East Troy conditional use to do that. So I'm about $3,000 into knocking some trees down and planting more trees.
Erosion control permit, I can see.
I spoke with the DNR because they're also kind of the like big people in charge of soil and erosion. They're very concerned about that, as they should be. Farmers can till their entire 10 million acres with a plow and not have a silt fence, and it's not a problem. But because we are not a farm yet, we can't do that. So I believe this conditional use would kind of allow us then in the future to use the agricultural portion of our lot to do that.
Sure.
We don't really need to do that though for Christmas trees. We just stick it in the ground.
Understood.
So,
Just going through the proper channel.
yeah.
And we,
Jumping through the hoops.
we appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think we feel your pain.
Yeah.
So,
It was a process just to get here. I started in about
Understood.
January,
understood.
but I'm here. I don't want to, oh, there's also a small portion on that about extending a driveway 330 feet. Right now we have I guess you could call it a driveway. There's a gate and a culvert with, it was gravel at some point, but now it's kind of gravel and grass. We'd like to just get the driveway towards the back of the lot where we plan to eventually build a house and pole barn. So I just do that in this process too, because I figure we'll be messing around with an excavator. We might as well spread some gravel.
Any questions for the applicant amongst commissioners? Okay, thank you.
All right.
Discussion amongst commissioners. It's A2 and it's gonna be a tree farm.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Well, and I don't think we're really acting on a driveway per se.
No,
It's
it's
just
it's a
detailed
condition.
applicant provided, but it doesn't
correct,
have anything to do with the condition.
correct. All right, at this point, I'd open up to the audience. Would anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of this proposal?
My name's Dale Lebecki. I live directly next to this property. Been there for 36 years now. I border the entire east and south side of this. Most of the trees, a lot of stuff he wants to cut down and stuff I put on there years ago when Julius Trampy still owned this property. I see no reason why he can't clear brush, clean the lot up. It's just overgrown garbage anyway, so there's no reason why not to. So I just want to support that.
Thanks, Dale.
Yep.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak in favor of the proposal? Would anybody like to speak against the proposal? All right, to me, it's a rubber stamp kind of a situation. I think we could make a motion.
I agree. I drove past.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use for parcel PET 90001A as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a conditional use amendment, W1545 Sawyer Lane, parcel PA 397300001, RM Kruger Investments.
So what we're looking to do is open a sister location. We currently have an RV dealership in Waterford, well-established business. We are looking to kind of have a sister location in East Troy. I'm a resident of East Troy, but also this location, it's really just got the perfect infrastructure for what we're looking for. It butts up against an RV park, Sheltering Oaks Park, or the campground. So there's good synergy there with, we do sales, service, and storage of recreational vehicles. So some of our customers currently are from that campground, come to our Waterford location. It'd be nice to have something, right on site there. The infrastructure of this lot is just perfect. We don't really need to do any changes. It already has upgraded electrical on site, and it's really ready to go for our needs. So, the reason we're here is because the account, it already was, has B4 business zoning, but the wording the county didn't like, because prior to our use, it was a vehicle truck sales and truck parts. And that's not what we do, even though the zoning worked out and the state permits worked out. The county wanted to see specific verbiage saying recreational vehicles. So that's why we're looking for the conditional use amendment.
Any questions from commissioners?
Any changes in hours of operation?
It's been vacant for about 2 years now. I'm not sure what the previous people did for operation there. Our hours of operation are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Once this location would be up and running, we hope to have the same.
Do you have any buildings?
Yeah, there is 2 buildings on site currently.
So you're going to use the current building?
That's correct. Yeah, we don't need to change any infrastructure here. It kind of just works out perfectly.
Would you still sell trucks and truck parts?
Not at all. Just recreational vehicles.
So this is really a new conditional use.
Yeah, as far as the state goes, everything already worked out because our licensing is the same as that of a motor vehicle, even though our vehicles don't have motors. But again, the county wanted to see specific verbiage for our use.
Enlighten me as to what recreational vehicles you have.
Campers, travel trailers.
Okay, nothing with a motor to it then.
Sometimes we'll get a motor home, which would have a motor. Class A, B, and C motor homes. That's a real small portion of our business, but it certainly does apply.
So this is used equipment?
Correct. These are all pre-owned.
And you'll do mechanical work?
We do it on site. Yeah, we do it currently at our Waterford location, but we hope to do it in East Troy as well.
How many RVs and stuff are you gonna have on the site?
So we're thinking roughly 30 on that site. Again, I was mentioning how the infrastructure works out. The way this property is set up, it's an old farm, and then they had outbuildings and carports, more or less, that are all hidden by fencing. And we really like that kind of out of sight, out of mind approach. We're not looking to be a big super mega store. I don't like that style of business. Since COVID, we went with more of a appointment only style, and we didn't like doing it when COVID started, but it actually worked out being great. It's just a very efficient way to run the business, and we hope to do so. So the majority of our inventory will actually be behind closed doors. We hope to just have 4 units out in the front parking lot where the previous truck dealer had their trucks for sale.
As a commission, do we need to know about how they dispose of oils or whatever?
I would say that that's not necessarily our purview. That's more of a operational DNR. I mean, if they're dumping oil in the backyard, then don't dump oil or anything. I mean, I would say it's not necessarily our purview.
And just to answer that for you, so we have a very limited amount of oil we go through because of doing very limited amount of motor vehicles. Most travel trailers, campers don't have any kind of hazardous waste. However, at our Waterford location, we have a company who comes and disposes of it, so we would use the same company.
Thank you.
So did you recently purchase this property?
No, we were just leasing it.
And the previous operator of the property was selling trucks?
That's
at this
correct.
location?
Yep.
Right.
Just listed also.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion amongst commissioners. My opinion, it's a totally new conditional use because it's a new owner. It's a very similar business type. That's just my take on it.
So what would it be under? B4 or?
I believe it's not B4 because is it B4? Because that's waterfront.
That's the way the
B4.
contract stated, so it's B4.
Okay, so they're not looking for a zoning change. It's a, I guess,
Just like
an amended
conditional.
conditional use or a new conditional use, however you want to think about it.
Well, I think it's new operator with a new business. I think it would be a new conditional use.
Yeah, yeah,
How I look at it.
sure. But I guess what I'm saying is it's not very different from what was there
Very
previously.
consistent with the previous.
In our business corridor, previous business, yes, whole new operation, whole new ownership, so I can see why the county would want, them to come before us for a new conditional use. Any other discussion amongst commissioners? At this time, I would open it up to the audience. Would anybody like to speak in favor of the proposal? Would anybody like to speak against the proposal? Unless anybody disagrees, I think this is pretty straightforward and we could act on it tonight.
I'll move that we approve the conditional use for B4 parcel number PA3973000001.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a rezone, a conditional use, N8828 Stringers Bridge Road, parcel number PET 1800006A, West Rod Cottage Industries, John Staus, applicant.
Joel, I was wondering, is there any way to move that 40 foot, because I have a lot of things, I need a little kind of space over there. Could I move it over a little bit?
Is he in the camera view over there?
You are not in the camera.
Yeah, I need to go over there.
If
somewhere.
you got behind,
I
like
can
by
move.
that window behind,
Okay.
then you'd be in here. The view stops just after Mr. Sealy.
Is that piece of metal lead in the bottom?
Small, yeah.
Okay. Maybe we could bring that easel over here so they can see a little better. Has the commission received any letters? I asked a few people to send some letters in.
I have two.
All right, can I read them on the record, or does somebody from the board read them on the record, or?
I was just gonna bring up that I had two letters in favor of. If you want to read them,
Yeah,
totally feel free.
I'll read them on the record, that way, we'll start out with that. Turn back this way so you guys can see that. All right, are these them?
Yes.
All right. All right, I'd like to read these letters onto the record. This one here is from Mike and Barb Larson, N9194 East Shore Road, East Troy, Wisconsin. Town of East Troy Planning Commission, N9330 Stewartsville Road. Dear members of the Planning Commission, I'm writing to express my strong support for the rezone and conditional use permit for parking for Fred's Tap. This project represents a valuable addition to our community, particularly given its near location to Lake Beulah. I believe there are several compelling benefits that this development will bring to East Troy. One, enhance of local economy, the establishment of another commercial restaurant, stimulate economic activity in the area, will create jobs both directly in the restaurant and then indirectly through the increased demand for local suppliers and services. Community gathering space, Fred's Tap will serve as a vital venue for public gatherings as a new dining option. It will provide residents and visitors with a place to socialize and build community ties. This is particularly important in fostering a series of community spirit and togetherness. 3, tourism boost. Lake Beulah is a significant attraction for both residents and tourists. The addition of quality dining establishments will enhance the experience for visitors, making the area even more appealing as a destination. This can lead to increased tourism, which benefits local businesses and broader economy. 4, convenience and accessibility. With the approval of the rezone and conditional use permit for parking for Fred's Tap, we'll be able to accommodate more patrons comfortably. This will alleviate potential parking issues and make it easier for customers to visit, enhancing their overall experience and encouraging repeat visits. 5, community development. The project aligns with the broader goals of developing our community in a way that is both sustainable and beneficial for all. Supporting this initiative demonstrates a commitment to growth and improvement, ensuring East Troy continues to thrive and offer amenities that residents and visitors alike can enjoy. I strongly encourage the Planning Commission to approve the rezone and conditional use permit for parking for Fred's Tap. This development promises significant advantages for our community, and I am confident it will be a positive addition to the East Troy. Thank you for considering my perspective on this matter. I look forward to the Commission's favorable decision. Sincerely, Mike and Barb Larson. All right, I received there's another one here. Attention Joel Cook. Dear Joel, we are the neighbors on New Deal Avenue and are unable to attend the June 5th meeting pertaining to the request of John Stowe's rezoning of commercial and conditional use of the parking lot across the street from Fred's Tap. We are in support of his request. Thank you, Laura Haynes, Mike Buchek, West 2389 New Deal Avenue, East Troy. Left my pen over there. Okay, why am I applying for a rezone along with the conditional use permit? To get Fred's Tap fully open, to provide an additional location on Lake Beulah to go for a beer and something to eat, by boat or car. Currently, there's only one other choice on Lake Beulah. At one point, there were 7 bar restaurants on Lake Beulah. Okay, I would like to address the changes for the property to the neighbors. There will be 8 commercial parking spots available for the bar and or commercial use. I will be removing any excessive personal vehicles along with some of my other related marine use equipment. I am not adding any additional boats or piers. I'm going to repeat that. I am not adding any additional boats or piers to the property known as North 8828 Stringers Bridge Road. Currently, I have 10 boats there. Please see letter dated February 28, 2012 from Town Attorney Jim Mills explaining it is legal to have 10 boats on the property known as North 8828 Stringers Bridge Road. With the proposed zoning change to C2, I am applying for a permitted use in C2 for a conditional use of a yachting club and marina. In the conditional use request, I am requesting 8 commercial use slips along with 2 personal use slips, not to exceed 10 slips as we currently have now. I would like to request the Planning Commission look at your packet. I included my application to Walworth County. I met with our zoning officer, Darren Schwenke, and Kate Hastings, lead planner at Walworth County. I received Kate Hastings' initials on the application. Please see your packet. In your packet, I included a copy of the Walworth County zoning book, the C2 under 74-179, definitions along with conditional use of a yachting club and marinas. Under section 74-221, existing substandard lots. Please see your packet. I gave 6 examples of lots in the town of East Troy that are in C2 zoning currently with less than 5 acres. I also included an example of a C2 zone property with a lot size of 0.31 acres, which just happens to be smaller than my property that I'm trying to get into C2. If you are creating a new lot out of a larger lot, you need to have a minimum of 5 acres. However, if you have a lot of record that was recorded prior to the adoption of the current zoning code, and I spoke to our zoning officer, Darren Schwenke, and the code was adopted on 7/14/1975. So July 14th, 1975 is the date that Walworth County started taking over the zoning in the town of East Troy. Okay, the zoning, as long as the lot of record was recorded prior to the current code being adopted, I provided 6 examples that are currently in C2 zoning with less than the current code that states you need a minimum of 5 acres. I spoke to Darren Schwanke, our Walworth County zoning officer. I asked Darren when was the current zoning code adopted. He instructed me that on July 14th, 1975. The current zoning code was adopted in any parcel that was a lot of record recorded prior to July 14th, 1975 is a substandard non-conforming lot. I have given in your packets 6 examples of C2 zone properties in the town of East Troy with lot sizes as small as 0.31 acres, which is smaller than my half-acre lot. By approving this rezone from C4 to C2, you will not be creating the only lot in the town of East Troy that is C2 zone with less than 5 acres. I would like to address some of the environmental concerns this proposal may bring up, starting with the parking. And I'd like to put something up here if I may. Okay. What I did is I went around to all the other D3 zone properties on the lake, and I took a measurement with a tape measure, and I started at the Double D's property. First, we'll start at the proposed site. It is from here, that's the ordinary high water mark, to here, the first stall. It's 154 feet. So at the proposed location, the first parking stall is going to be 154 feet. There will be nobody parking right here. That's inside the gated area. No one's going to park down there. All the parking is going to be in the gravel way in the back here, which is 154 feet to the ordinary high water mark. Okay, then I went over to Double D's, which I don't have a drawing up here, but it's 79 feet from the closest parking stall to the ordinary high water mark. Then I went to Lindy's, which I have, which is right here, and it's 50 feet from the ordinary high water mark to the first parking stall at Lindy's. Then I went to the Dockside property, and it's 49 feet from the ordinary high water mark to the first parking stall at Dockside, and it's 7 feet in the back from where the channel is back there to the parking stall closest to the channel. Then I went to the Lakeview Yacht Club, which is right here, and the Lakeview Yacht Club is 57 feet from the ordinary high water mark to the parking stall, and then if you go to the channel to the closest parking stall, it's 27 feet. So I'm just showing that what we're proposing here is we're not going to try to put cars closer than they are already on the lake. We're going to be 154 feet back, which I think will be adequate to not have to worry about anything getting into the lake over 154 feet. Okay. All right, I'd like to explain. Take this right down. I'd like to explain this, which is, I'm gonna get my notes up here real quick. Okay, what I'm showing you here on the Edsel is these are the sensitive areas on Lake Beulah. There are 8 sensitive areas on Lake Beulah here. And I'm gonna start up at number 1, and I'm gonna work my way to number 8. So number 1 sensitive area is right over here. In number 1, you have 1 pier, 3 boats in sensitive area number 1. In sensitive area number 2, you have 8 piers, that's over here. You have 8 piers, 11 boats in sensitive area number 2. All right, in sensitive area number 3, which is right in the corner here, that's sensitive area number 3. You have 5 piers and you have 4 boats up here in sensitive area number 3. All right, sensitive area number 4 is right here, and you have 8 piers and 8 boats. Okay, now, sensitive area number 5, if you look on this picture right here, this is sensitive area number 6 here, okay? This is Camp Alchester's, and right now there's 24 boats, 12 piers, 2 buildings right on the edge of the shore, and a boat launch. So that's in sensitive area number 6 here. So I'd like you to think about how these sensitive areas impact the lake in relationship to what I'm asking to do, because I'm asking for a fraction of what these people already have. So I'm not asking.
But didn't you say you're not asking for any more boats or any more?
No, I'm not asking for anything additional. I'm just asking for the type of my boats, so you can pull up by pier and walk across the street and have yourself a beer or a burger or something like that. Right now, I can have 10 boats, not a question, not a problem. But I can't use the boats in a commercial capacity. I can't let you pull up and go have a beer over there. That's where the rub is. That's why I need to have the conditional use to have it allowed for marina, so that you can pull up and enjoy. And another thing, all the properties that I mentioned earlier that were B3 on the lake, they're at a competitive advantage to Fred's Tap. And reason being, we have a culvert there that probably only about a third of all the boats on the lake will fit through there. We're handicapped or hindered a little bit by the size of the culvert to go through there. So if you go to Double D's when it was around, you could pull up anything you want. You go to the Lindy's, you could pull up anything you want. You could go to Dockside, pull up any size boat you want, and et cetera at the yacht club. So we're at a competitive disadvantage by having to go through the culvert to patronize the business. Okay, sensitive area number 7. Okay, that is the area where this proposal is. And sensitive area number 7 is right down here, this shaded area here on that map there. Sensitive area number 7 feeds the homes that are behind Fred's Tap. There's 29 houses behind on New Deal Avenue. And each house has between 2 and 3 or 4 boats on it. I don't know very many that could just have one boat, but maybe there's a few. So there's probably 40 to 50 boats conservatively that come through the culvert and come out through this channel here and go out onto the lake. Now, I'll tell you something about sensitive area number 7. The channel area right here and right here, it's about 3 to 4 feet in depth, water depth, which you can traverse in and out and not have a problem. You're not rutting anything up. You're not damaging anything. However, if you take your boat and go over here where the lily pads are, or over here where the lily pads are, or out here where the lily pads are, it's 12 to 16 inches of water. So most of the boats that are on Lake Beulah are water-cooled engines. You either have an outboard or inboard outboard. There's a few mud motors running around, but very, very few of them. So if you have a outboard or an inboard outboard, and you decide, hey, let's go driving through the sensitive area, about 3 or 4 minutes, your motor's gonna overheat, you're gonna turn your boat into scrap aluminum or whatever you got.
Oh, who's gonna go busting through the weeds?
Well, I'm pointing out that the boats that come back from New Deal and the boats that end up on the lake aren't damaging environmental sensitive area.
Sure.
Because if you were to go in here where it's shallow, you're gonna damage your boat, plus you'll damage the sensitive area. So the vast majority of the people that come through that area, including myself, always stay in the channel. So I'm just trying to point out that sensitive area number 7 is very important to the lake. It's a filter, it's a buffer. We have no milfoil down there, and that's the way we want to keep it. But what I'm saying is the people that are using that channel to either get back to New Deal or to come by me or wherever, they're not going to be damaging the area in sensitive area number 7 because they don't go in the shallow area because they're going to damage your boat. No one's going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go over to sensitive area number 8, which is this picture
Middle bottom.
right here. Right here, sensitive area number 8. So sensitive area number 8 is going to be right over here, and that is our public boat launch. So currently, our Town of East Troy public boat launch, which the DNR owns and the town runs, they put roughly 6,000 boats a summer through that launch. Okay, it generates between $50,000 and $60,000 per year for the town, for revenue for the town. So, you know, sensitive area number 8 is probably the one that's hammered the hardest out of all the sensitive areas because of all the boats coming in and out of sensitive area number 8. So I'm just trying to point this out that me asking to have 10 boats there is really a microcosm of what's really going on everywhere else in these other sensitive areas. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Let me just throw something at you. So if you already have 10 boats,
Yes,
you'll continue to have 10 boats?
I'm not gonna expand any boats, I'm not gonna expand any piers.
But if I'm a guest and I come over there, there's still gonna be 10 boats in me, so that'll be 11?
No, I'm gonna take some of the boats that are there, I'm gonna get them out of there, And I'm gonna have, so if you come by boat to visit, to patronize,
You have Fred's Tap has 3 slots or 2 slots.
yeah, I'll do similar to what, Mr. Temujin does down there, leave a couple end spots out on the pier so you can come in, grab whatever you want, and go out on the lake. I'm trying to make it accessible by the water, so. I also have a ecological report here that I had done by this company called Applied Ecological Services. And in here, he goes into great detail and explains that the percentage of my area was less than 2/3 of 1% of environmental 7 sensitive area. So I'm not even at 1%. I'm 2/3 of 1%. So I'm not going to create a large impact on sensitive area number 7, provided they stay out of the lily pads, which I think they will. All right.
I don't think we got a copy of that
No, we don't have
ecological
one.
report in our packet.
I did not run them off. It's like 8 pages, but if you want to look at it, I'm more than happy to let you look at it. Or I can make some and drop them back off for it if you want. It's no problem.
The ladder.
Yeah, okay, no problem. All right. All right, another thing I'd like to point out here is this picture right here, okay? And this picture right here, all right? This is the very front of Lindy's over on East Shore Road. And in 2006, there was a stormwater sewer installed there. And the stormwater sewer was installed by the town. And the gentleman that signed off right here was the town chairman, Bob Mueller, who happens to be sitting right over here. And this was done with no permits. There's no county permits for this. There's no,
What does this have to do with?
well, I'm
Fred's
just
Tap?
showing as far as the using or having runoff going into the lake or my parking. I'm just trying to point out that my parking is the least detrimental thing going on in the lake. That's
I
all.
think your point's been made.
Okay, all right, yeah. All right. All right, all right. No one owns the lake, but there are entities that want to control who uses the Lake Beulah. This is contrary to the Public Water Trust doctrine. Please keep this in mind when deciding how you'll vote on this proposal. I understand some commissioners on the planning commission may have some objection to this proposal. Ask yourself, your objections, how do they apply to the other 7 sensitive areas we discussed on Lake Beulah? I have been involved with businesses on Lake Beulah since 1968, the year I was born. My grandparents used to own the dockside building, and I was an indentured slave servant for the first 20 years of my life working at dockside. So with over 50 years of cumulative services on Lake Beulah, serving people who enjoy Lake Beulah, I spent 20 years at the current dockside, formerly Stimmick's Place, 10 years at the former Lindy's property, and 21 years at the Fred's Tap property. I would like to state for the record that I have personally rented at the dockside and the Fred's Tap location for boats for over 40 years, totaling thousands of boats. I can state to you, no one I ever rented a boat to has received a ticket from the Town of East Troy Police Department or the Wisconsin DNR. So if I send somebody out in the lake to rent a boat, to go fishing with their family, their grandpa, or whoever, I brief them, I tell them about the lake, I tell them what you can do, I tell you what you shouldn't do, and I tell them to do this, or you're gonna get popped by the cops because they got good binoculars. So I drill down and I make sure that no one gets a ticket. I don't wanna have someone come up Lake Beulah and have a bad experience. All right, in closing, it's a win-win for the community. It's a win with a public meeting place to socialize with neighbors. The building and surrounding land will be cleaned up. For me, it's a win to get the bar fully open, and I would like to have the opportunity to address any questions and concerns when I'm done talking. If you guys have any, or if the audience has any. And I'm done, thank you.
All right, questions for the applicant amongst commissioners. So if I could start, what's different than the last time we shot you down?
What's different, I think, that I didn't have my ducks in a row with the 5 acres and the C2. I wasn't aware and I learned this from talking to Darren at the county, that if you have a property of record, that you can put it into C2, and you can get a conditional use for yachting clubs and marina in C2. I wasn't aware of that at the time that it came through last time, that you could do that. So,
So me personally, I'm not speaking for anybody else. The problem I have is it's C4.
Yes, it's.
That's a wetland.
correct.
We don't change
Don't
C4
change-
to
don't-
anything.
No.
Well, the property has been delineated twice, and it's been proven that there's only a couple inches along the shore, like most lake lots. So the property is an upland zone district. It's not a wetland property. It was inadvertently put in wetland property back in the early 70s when the state of Wisconsin mandated it
Do you
all.
have the wetland delineation?
I do have it, but I have a letter, if you look in your packet, I think it's near the back, where, I forget her name, Allison at the DNR.
Allison Merrick.
Yeah, Allison at the DNR and Darren Schwanke, and I've had this delineated twice already. I've owned this property for 21 years. I had it delineated twice, and both times I had it delineated, the wetland delineation line did not move. It's the exact same spot.
And Sewer Pack did that, or who did your wetland?
I had
delineation?
Sewer Pack, I had Army Corps of Engineers, and I had the DNR there. And somewhere in one of my old phones, I have a picture of all of them standing there.
Allison also stated that there might be a new delineation needed. That was
She
on
says if you're trying to build
423.
something, if
What's
you're
that?
trying to build something in that wetland delineation
No,
zone.
in order to call it, to separate it, because what you're, I think, I might be wrong, but what I think what you're trying to do is to have part of it remain C4, and then above that,
Correct.
you,
The
it's
few
C2.
feet, right, the few feet
Both-
that's depicted by that map
Yeah,
is gonna
both,
stay C4.
yeah, both Allison and Darren said that there are concerns about the delineation and the survey from 2012, and they would want to be,
Do you
want
have the
that,
actual letter that I got from Darren and from Allison? It's in the packet.
yes. And
Okay,
it says that they
That's
want
what he's quoting.
confirmation.
well, he's quoting off of his notes there. I don't know what exactly is said there, but he says that I could use my old delineation because the line hadn't changed and I'm not doing anything in the wetland area.
I'll pull it up, what you gave us, and I'll
That's
read
probably
to
got
you.
right there at the back of that packet there.
So, again, I think our concern is, I guess me again, I don't want to speak for everybody. I'd be more apt to, if it is truly upland and it got zone C4, okay, but I want to see the wetland delineation. And then I want it a little bit more clear, like, this is going to be C4. If it's 3 feet across the lake, I don't
Right.
really care.
If you look at this area right here, that's in the, I don't know what you want to call that, dotted space or whatever, that's the wetland area right there, okay? That's clearly defined on the survey where it is. Nothing is gonna happen down in this area here. No, we're not building anything. And another thing I failed to mention here is there's gonna be no grading, there's gonna be no variances needed, there's not gonna be any land disturbance. I'm just asking to park on gravel that I already have there, that I can't legally park on for commercial.
I get it. I think you're jumping the route. I'm trying to help you here.
Okay,
So if you want to argue, we can argue.
no, I'm not arguing, John, I'm not arguing.
All I'm saying is, I think we want to make sure that we're not changing wetland land to C2 land. We're not going to do that. That's absolutely not going to happen.
Okay.
We are reasonable people that if it's upland and it's not wetland, it's not C4. That's not
Okay,
properly.
I have the 8 or 9 page full wetland delineation. This was put on the survey here, and Ferris Hansen, who's a licensed registered guy for this, he did the maps for me, and he put them on there.
2013.
This is
And
12
and the date is
this 12 years
2013.
ago.
Correct, and nothing has changed.
The packet,
It says you, and I'm not calling you a liar.
No, that's
I'm just
fine.
saying, this is what I have to go off of. It was 2013, there was this much C4.
Okay,
So if you had something that was 2024
Hold
that
on.
said, hey, the wetland delineation's this, I would be way more apt to hear you out.
here, let's just do this.
it's the very last thing before this meeting.
Right here, which was done April 28th, you have this
These
in
two
your packet.
things are saying there needs to be confirmation
April 23rd.
about the delineation.
Okay, I contacted Darren and I contacted Allison at the DNR. And I explained to them that I've had this property delineated twice and nothing has changed in both delineations. I asked them, could I use the most recent wetland delineation survey map, which is this,
That's this one?
right, that I have, and would that suffice? And they asked me, do you plan on building anything or doing anything in or near the wetland? I said, absolutely not. I said, I don't even plan on building anything.
So just for the record, the response was the county would be looking for confirmation that the delineation survey from 2012 would still be accurate. The land above the delineation would rezone to an upland zone district, and the land below the delineation
Would
would
stay the same.
remain the C4 wetland district. If these old delineations are confirmed, then John could start the rezone process with Kate Hastings at the county, then proceed to the township, and then on to the county zoning agency. Let me know if you have any further questions.
Okay, now to
So,
go to the
so
top.
so if these old delineations are confirmed, then John could start the rezone process with Kate Hastings at the county, then proceed to the township.
Okay,
So
if
that
you
was the
read,
advice
if you read the
from-
top line right here, that's answering that question right there.
Yeah,
I'll read,
but-
I'll
but-
read-
No,
I
wait,
just- I'm
wait.
trying to make a point.
Okay.
The advice
was to
from
make
the
sure.
county zoning officer, Darren Schwanke, was to confirm the delineation, then to proceed to the town.
And that's what happened. There was an email sent between Darren and Allison at the DNR, and then Allison's response is up on the top here. It says,
Allison says a new delineation might be needed.
that's not what I'm reading here.
It says
Well,
might
it's right
be-
here with the packet you gave us.
Here. Might be
It's in
needed.
black and white.
Might be the last year's classes. Might be needed. And I guess that's what we're asking for, something more current.
I think it's uncommon for us to evaluate like a C4, C2 rezone.
Well, I don't know what
With
you
the
have there,
delineation,
but I'm gonna read you what I have here from my email that I got from her.
That's what you gave us.
So let me read it to you. It says, the parcel does not have any mapped wetland except for what is being along the shore. So I would be comfortable calling the property upland as mapped in the 2012 delineation. With the mapped wetland near the shore, if there are any future projects in that area, a new delineation might be needed
Stop,
for the purpose
Right
of zoning the entire
Right
parcel.
there.
stop right there. That's the answer.
It
If
might
there
be
are
needed.
any future projects in the area, a new delineation might be needed.
I'm not doing any projects. I'm not building
What do you
anything.
mean you're not doing any projects?
I'm asking for a rezone along with the conditional use. There's no land disturbance, there's no buildings going up, there's no variances being requested. I'm not doing anything.
Well,
I'm just asking to be able to park on it legally, commercially.
Yes,
I can park on it now
that's a good
personally.
use.
Okay, well, the way it's explained here, if you read this, she's comfortable calling my 2012 delineation as long as you're not doing anything in the area that's depicted on that site map as wetland. I'm not doing anything in that area there.
Yeah, that's not how I read that.
So you're just saying you're not gonna update
No, no,
this?
I'll get you a new.
I'm reading the room here, and I feel like that's kind of the next step.
Joel, if you want the original wetland delineation from my most recent one, which is whatever it was, 12 or 13 or 15, I'll get you the whole 5 or 6 or 7 page report, which is gonna depict what you see here. I have no problem with
But
that.
whoever did your delineation, can they confirm that it's still accurate, or can someone? I mean,
And Allison-
Allison said maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
And maybe you need a new one.
Allison said she'd feel comfortable using the wetland map delineation of 2012.
Keep going.
Yeah, with the mapped wetland near the shore, if there are any future projects in that area. I'm not doing anything in the
Keep
mapped
going.
area,
Don't stop. Keep going.
okay? It says, if there are any future projects in that area, the mapped area, a new delineation might be needed, but for the purpose of zoning the entire parcel, the previous delineation is fine. So it's saying you can go from C4 to C2, but if you plan to do anything in the wetland area, you have to have it remapped. I think that's how it's read. Maybe I'm wrong. If you'd like me to get the original 6 or 7 page report from that, I'd be more than happy to get it for you. I have no problem.
I just think that's a big slipping point for this board. And again, I don't want to speak for anybody else.
We
Go
get a
ahead.
lot of requests to clean up zoning with wetlands, because wetlands don't follow property lines.
No, I know.
So that's pretty common.
And you gotta do your delineation during the growing season. I get it. I'm totally on board with it.
But what's uncommon here is we have a delineation survey done 12 years ago. That's not common.
Right, but when I contacted Darren and I contacted Allison, I asked them if I could use my old delineation, so I don't have to do it for the third time, okay? And they said, as long as you're not doing anything in that wetland delineated, the area that's considered wetland, you're fine. So I'm not asking to do anything down along the edge of the shore. I'm not gonna put anything there, I'm not gonna build anything there, I'm not doing anything down there. All I'm asking to get the property into an upland zoning district, so the field conditions match what's on the book at the county. That's all I'm asking. But if you want me to get the 6 page or 5 page.
So
I'll
I
go
understand
ahead
what you're
and get it.
saying. Nothing's gonna happen in that delineated C4 area.
Correct.
I think we would all feel comfortable if we had a nice, pretty new map. And I'm not trying to spend your money, so don't get me wrong. That's dated 2024 and said, here's the, I don't think that the wetland is gonna go from here to here. It's not. The water didn't raise 25 feet. I get it. But if someone tell me if I'm out of line with everybody else on the commission, that, you know, you're kind of bringing in, here's a little piece, here's a little piece. I'd like to see it all in one piece so we can say, you know what, we did approve it and it's gonna look like this now.
Okay,
But it's gonna look like this, but maybe not.
okay. I'm gonna get you what you want because I'm gonna cooperate with you. That's how I'm gonna do it.
I'm not trying to just cause trouble and spend money for you.
Joel,
So-
if that's the way you want it, I'm more than happy to give you exactly what you want. No problem.
It's cleaner for us.
That's fine, but what's happening here is depicted at what's been happening there for the last 20 years. Because I had it delineated twice, and nothing has changed over the 20 years.
And if you feel that strongly about it, then you maybe delineate it one last time. Or maybe
Well, how about if
maybe
I
Warren
get-
Hanson can say, you know, I talked to the DNR, my map is now updated, stamp it,
Fair enough.
revised
Fair
24,
enough.
something like
I'll be
that.
more than happy to do that for you.
Again, me personally, I would feel better if it's kind of all in one spot.
No problem.
And I'm not saying that means we're gonna approve it. I'm saying that makes us a lot
I'll
easier.
be happy to do what you want, Joe. Not a
Thank you.
problem.
Okay.
I have a question for you, as long as the board is here and I'm here. Does the board see a problem putting that size of a lot into C2?
So I don't, and I don't want to speak for everybody. It's non-conforming already.
Right.
So I don't necessarily feel that the size of the lot really, changes. I mean, it's going to be non-conforming C2.
Right.
It's right now non-conforming C4.
Right.
So it's going to be non-conforming either way, just because of the size of the parcel. And all your points about we should have more things on Beulah, I get it. I get it. But we're not. Again,
I'll be more than happy to
C4
get
is like
cleaned up for you.
when I looked at it, I'm like, I'm not changing C4. I know the history of it. So again, I'm not saying that. But if you want this,
I'd be more than happy
This is what we're asking
to go
for.
up there, Warren out there, and I'll say, Warren, can you contact somebody at SERPAC or contact somebody at the DNR? Have them go over the records you have and give me an updated map showing that this is the delineation line here.
because all of this is great. This is really what I want because
No problem.
that's what a
So
stamp can be on.
I'll give you what you
okay?
want. I'm not even gonna argue them.
All
I'll
right.
give you what you want.
So, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Could be, if you don't mind.
And
So
then I'll get you a copy of this.
I think at this point, and I don't want to, everybody in the audience, I think it's more of a, let's table this till we can get more information, rather than get all the public input, then come back at our decision-making meeting and then have new information because we've had that
We
issue.
have to settle the rezoning before we can get to the conditional use.
I
And-
could not agree more.
Yeah,
I almost,
so-
they're, to me, they're two separate and
Two separate
distinct.
things,
items.
one, then the other.
Yes.
And there is just some confusion.
I'll get that updated, not a problem.
I think if we can get all the confusion and maybe even, Rich, you've definitely got some notes. If we could get that to John, so maybe he can make sure he answers all your
And I
questions,
just,
or Ferris
copy what
Hansen
he
does.
has, yeah.
Okay. Or
So-
if Ferris Hansen, because I don't want you to come back and then we're like, oh, well, now we want this. I'm not trying to play games with you.
So let me just ask you exactly what you want. You'd like me to go to Warren Hanson, and you'd like him to contact Army Corps of Engineers.
So
SERPAC.
I'm not here to tell you what to do.
Well, I want to know what you want. I'm going to get you what you want.
I want to see a survey that's recent that shows the wetland delineation.
Fair enough.
In long and short of it.
No problem. I'll be more than happy
And
to
does
get it.
anybody else disagree or want anything more or less?
In a legible format, I
Yeah.
don't think, even if this was current, I don't think we would have been in a position to act on this as is. I can't.
Well, there's a full-size one right there.
Right.
that-
Right, but I can't read this, I can't prepare fully for the meeting, like.
So would you like me to get a size like that for you?
Well, a legible copy, so I think, like, this is just, You
Yeah,
can't read it.
it's
It didn't come through the copy. With a magnifying glass, I can't read it.
Okay.
And honestly,
So you
even if
want a
it,
crisp, clear, do you want a larger one or is that large enough?
Probably larger because
Okay.
it's not legible right now.
Legible.
I just don't a legible copy.
Okay. Is that copy over there legible?
That's beautiful.
Okay, so if I got you a copy of that size, would you be all right?
Yes, I mean, but oftentimes we,
Just a little bigger, so. we
so it's
can-
legible.
So you
All
don't
the
need a
fine
magnifying
print.
glass.
Well, and even if we did.
or I mean, if it was digital, we could
Yeah,
zoom
or
in.
a digital copy.
I think I have that in a digital format.
Well,
If you want me to
when,
email it,
well,
whatever you
when
can-
Warren redoes it,
get you
we'd
digital
love
copy.
either digital or larger or
Okay.
something legible.
Okay,
Again, we don't just come here cold. We like to do a little
Oh, I
research
get
before
it.
we get in.
I mean,
So
somebody
when Jen
requested,
gets it to us,
she wanted that dropped off early, I had no problem, bring it
Sure.
over, you guys can look
Great.
at it early, whatever.
Great.
Okay, so I need to get two things, and then we're gonna come back, have the public comments, and then we're gonna render your decision.
yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
So again, to the audience, I apologize if everybody came out and wanted to get their comments in. I don't know that, we definitely, your comments will be a little bit in vain because we don't technically know what we're even making a decision on. And if you guys are commenting on what we might decide, we don't really know what he's asking for just lack of a better term. So again, if you guys made a special trip, I apologize. But this is going to be adjourned to next month, not even 2 weeks from now, because that would be our decision-making meeting. So we're not going to have a decision-making meeting. We're going to have a first Wednesday in July. We will have another informational meeting. This will be on the agenda. So, yes.
Will we have the right dates on the letter we get?
Yes, you will. There were 8 of you that got a letter, and I do apologize for switching dates.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Also, is it possible to send a letter with pertinent information that relates to the case in the event that I may not be able to be here at the next meeting?
So everything is on the website?
The entire packet as well as the agenda are on the website for every single request. The entire packet. There's no information that we have that you are not privy to.
Now, my point is if I want to make a statement that I want to be part of the decision, can I send you a letter?
Oh, yes. If you can't make it here, yes. Just all the information that we will have for the next meeting will be on the website. And if you can't make it and need to, it usually goes through Jen and she gets it to me and all the other board members. All right.
Can you put it out more than 1 month? Because this is an inconvenience for a number of us, both money-wise and people-wise, haven't been there at the right time. And I'm speaking for the Lakeview Management District. So we're caught up good, we're ready to go now. And we're prepared for this. And we're gonna put it off 1 month, we have some confidence in about 2 months.
I don't know that that's fair to the applicant, so I guess I'm going to say no. I'm going to push it off to July. I apologize. Any other questions or comments? All right, so that's been tabled. Actually, we've kind of come into public comment. Is there any other public comment or question or concern? Any other business amongst commissioners? Then I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have
I
a motion.
second that.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Good job.
So Christmas tree people.
Place in order.